welcome back to my channel. If you are not already subscribed to this video, make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss another update. I'm sure by the title of this video you already know what this video is going to be about. And this topic, I actually had made a post on my Instagram and a lot of people were asking me like, well, why do you feel that way? So the post basically was stating that I don't like the term Afro Latina. I don't go by that term. And people were asking me like, why? Like, why do you feel that way? A lot of my friends that are from Panama, and we all have the same skin tone majority, they all were like, well, why? Like, why don't you agree with that? So they all were puzzled as to why I don't like the word Afro Latina, why I don't use the word Afro Latina, and why I don't identify as the word Afro Latina. First of all, before I even start this video, I just want to let everyone know this is my opinion. These are my life experiences. No way does this, reflect the opinions of others or a whole race. This is in particular me, my family, my culture, and what I dealt with growing up. So first of all, I see this new phenomenon where there's like this uprise with, Black people who are from Hispanic countries like Central America and South America, I guess, that they're identifying themselves as Afro Latina. First of all, if that's what you want to do, that is on you. I am in no way or shape to tell anyone who they should identify with. I personally do not identify as Afro Latina. First of all, the term, I feel, well, first of all, let's look up the word Afro. I looked up the definition Afro, and the definition of Afro was a thick hairstyle consisting of very tight curls that sticks out all around the head like the natural hair of Black people. And then I looked up the word Latin. So Latin is the language that is used in Rome and its empire. And then the second definition was Latin is also referred to countries or people using the Latin language or the language that derived from Latin, i.e. Spanish. I get why people would want to use that term, but for me personally, yes. Okay, so let me just make it very clear that I am 100% Panamanian. I am Panamanian. My mom is Panamanian. However, my descendants are not Panamanian. My descendants are from the West Indies. So a lot of us, I'm not going to generalize and say all, but many Black people, especially Black people that come from areas in Panama like Colón, or if they're from the Rio Bajo section of Panama, or if they're from Bocas del Toro, they are descendants of Caribbean people, i.e. Trinidad, Jamaica. Jamaica is actually one of the most popular countries that a lot of people come from. As far as like the West Indies is concerned, Barbados is also another one, especially around the time when the Panama Canal was built. A lot of us were descendants of West Indians. So being as though the definition, it doesn't really like fit me, okay? I feel like a lot of us have identity issues. We don't know where we come from, and especially when you live in areas like Panama, a lot of people who are descendants from West Indian people, from West Indians, they got looked down upon, like it was really a bad thing to be Black. And to fit in, a lot of us neglected our first languages, which is English. So a lot of people from Panama that are from West Indian descent, their generation, which is my generation and my son's generation, they no longer speak English. And the reason why they don't speak English like that, and again, this is not everyone, is because people look down upon you when you spoke English, okay? Even till this day, like I have people assume that I am from every other place besides Panama because I speak English. And usually those people really aren't Panamanian people. They're usually like foreigners, like people from like Venezuela, people from Colombia, which is like really, really weird. The most discrimination that I've ever received here in Panama was from people outside of Panama. So people that came from different countries that are here and residing in Panama, like I said, people from Colombia, people from Venezuela, and I don't think it's more so because they're doing it out of malice. I think it's more so out of ignorance because they really just don't know. And then we amongst ourselves have issues because I have people telling me that I'm not black. Just the other day, I was in the store and a customer came in and we were having a conversation. We're both the same color. We both have the same texture of hair. And she told me that I was not black. So this is where this whole thing like comes from, because I just feel like this word was created to separate us from who we truly are, which at the end of the day, we're just black. You're either white or you're black, or you're yellow, which is Asians or whatever, but you're either black or you're white at the end of the day. I don't feel like, even when you're mixed and you have a drop of black in you, you're all automatically considered black. Back in the day, if your mother was white and your father was black, they considered you colored. So, I mean, I'm not really understanding where the separation is coming from. People always ask me, like, what are you? I'm a black woman. At the end of the day, I'm a black woman. When I walk down the street, what they're going to identify me as, a black woman. Okay? I don't have the Spanishy hair. My hair is not like, you know, a 3A, 3B. No, my hair is black and it's nappy, and I'm happy about that, and I am proud of that. So I'm not going to separate myself from who I truly am by calling myself something else to separate me from a group of other people, because I feel like that's really just what it is. Like, you're calling yourself Afro Latina because you don't want to be put in the same category as what they would call a Black American or an African American. At the end of the day, we're still black at the end of the day. However you want the cookies to crumble, or however you call it, you're still a black person at the end of the day. Again, to each his own. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion, and you are able to identify yourself as whatever you choose to identify yourself with, but I would definitely not be identifying myself as Afro Latina because I'm not descendant of any Latin country. My descendants are Jamaican, and behind that, they're from Africa. Everyone knows that with the slave trade, most of the slaves were dropped off in Jamaica. So, yeah, I just don't like the term. I don't agree with the term. And then on top of that, I was like looking at this documentary on YouTube, and I'm seeing other people. It was about who are you, how can you identify, what is an Afro-Latina? And some of the definitions and what people were saying really just didn't make any sense. At the end of the day, you still were saying, you know, you're proud of your African roots, so then if you're so proud of your African roots, then why are you adding the Latin part of it? Because the definition clearly states that you derive from Rome. As far as I'm concerned, black people are not originally, or they do not originate from Rome. You originate from Africa. Maybe I might be wrong. If I'm wrong, feel free to leave comments on the bottom, in the comment section, I'm sorry, and voice your opinion. However, I don't, to me, like, it just doesn't, like, really make any sense to me. I just feel like at the end of the day, I just want to be identified as a black woman. I am a black woman. I just happen to be a black woman that was, I guess, we traveled to a Central American country. My ancestors traveled to a Central American country for a better way of life. Does that mean that I am not proud of Panamanian culture? Absolutely not, because I am proud. However, the food that we eat, and the way we speak and the music that we listen to is definitely Caribbean music. That, like I said, like the food that we eat, everything is that, all of that comes from, African traditions and, Caribbean culture. So I don't really identify with Spanish. I also feel that we suffer a lot from identity issues. Like the fact that this girl has the nerve to tell me that I'm not black, and what black is to them is someone that is really, really of darker skin tone, made no sense to me. So I asked her, I'm like, okay, so if I'm not black, what am I? She said, I am chomba blanca. So for those of you who don't know what chomba blanca is, a chombo used to be a derogatory word, or it is a derogatory word that Panamanians would use to call people, or to call black people that originated from Caribbean countries, aka English-speaking people. So they will call you a chombo. And the blanco part means white. So because my skin tone may be a little bit lighter and not as dark, and I spoke English, because my descendants were English people, they would consider me a chomba blanca. Yeah. So they still don't really identify me as even being, part of the heritage, or being 100% Panamanian, because my descendants were from they were English speaking people. So all of these things to me is just, growing up, I was super confused about who I was and where I came from. And it just got really complicated when you start like breaking down, your ancestries and who you are allowed to represent and what you're not allowed to represent, and who you are. Because you could be accepted in, like for me, like I wasn't accepted in the Hispanic community because my hair wasn't, wavy, and I wasn't going around talking like this because of that, I wasn't accepted. I went to SUNY New Paltz, and SUNY New Paltz was filled with a lot of Dominicans. There was a lot of Dominicans. I didn't fit in with them. I had no Dominican friends. I had actually no Hispanic friends, now that I'm thinking about it. Unless you were Panamanian, like if I grew up with you and you were, family friends and we grew up together, yes. But in my experiences, I've never had really any Hispanic friends because I didn't fit in with them, because I didn't have the accent, or, my Spanish wasn't that perfect, so I didn't fit in with them. And then I didn't fit in with, Caucasian people. I mean, even though they were more accepting to me than Hispanics were. It's really crazy. And so most of my friends were just Caribbean and West Indian people. There's a dog barking outside. Anyway, so most of my friends, well, all of my friends were Caribbeans or Panamanians, like me, that were chombos for the most part. And so I always identified as just a black woman at the end of the day. So again, I hope that this has, given some clarity. I asked people on my Instagram, some questions that they had in regards to me living in Panama and my experience because I can actually tell you on both sides, being like an American and also being a Panamanian chomba, the experience, because I did live in the States and I do live here. I do want to say that racism is not prevalent. I mean, no, it exists, but it's not as bad as it is in the US. For example, I don't think that people here are racist or prejudiced because of hate. I don't think it comes from a hateful place. Well, not everybody, but for the most part, I don't think that it comes from a hateful place. I think it, again, comes from a place of ignorance and not knowing who you are and just basically just trying to like, just find themselves. I do feel a lot safer for my child and myself as being, you know, a black woman and raising a black son. I feel a lot safer here than I do feel in the States. When it comes to certain things, don't get me wrong. Here, everything really is not. I think here is more about your social class more so than your race. Like I said, I'm not speaking for everyone. I'm just saying this is just my personal experience. Have I personally experienced racism? No, not from a Panamanian person. Any racism that I did experience was from someone that was not Panamanian. For example, my son got called in his school. He got called, they said they were teasing him because he was black. But luckily for my child, I told him that he knows very well that he's black. He acknowledges that he's black, he's happy, and he's proud of who he is. So for that, we don't have any issues. But my son did tell the young man, okay, I'm black, and I'm proud to be black, so what are you saying? Just so happened that that person, the child, was actually Chinese. He was not Panamanian. He was Chinese. So again, another experience I had with, would it be, I don't even know if you want to really consider racism, but another experience I had was I was in my store, and 9 out of 10 times people don't know that I am the owner of the store because I dress regular and I work like a regular employee. I don't really need to go around acting like I'm the boss. It's not necessary. So I was speaking English to one of the other employees, and she's actually from Jamaica. And then there's another girl, she's black, but she's black Panamanian. So the young lady comes to me and she goes, oh, so everybody that works here is Jamaican? And I was like, what? And she was like, oh no, because I heard you speaking English. And so I looked at her and I was just like a little confused. So not that I was offended that she thought I was Jamaican, but the fact that she would assume that I'm from someplace just because I was speaking English and just because I'm black. Because the other girl, not the Jamaican employee, the other employee who is black and Panamanian, she assumed that all of us were from Jamaica, not necessarily because we were speaking English, but because we were black. Because the Panamanian employee, she don't really speak English, even though her family is from Caribbean background, she speaks no English. So, but she is a darker skin. So she assumed that because we were all black, that we were from Jamaica. Or sometimes they assume like we're from Africa. It's usually that. So then I turn to her and I say to her, so what do you mean? Just because a person speaks English, they gotta be from Jamaica? And then she just looks at me and she's like, oh no, because I'm like, girl, don't go around saying that because you're gonna sound really crazy telling people stuff like that, because who says it just because you speak English? So then I turned to her and I said, so you telling me that nobody in Panama speaks English, and if they do speak English, they gotta be from Jamaica? And she just looked at me because, like I said, there's plenty of people in Panama that speak English. There's white people that speak English, there's Chinese people that speak English, there's black people that speak English, and not necessarily because of my skin tone, you automatically have to assume that that's where I'm from. So it really wasn't because I was speaking English, it was because of the color of my skin. And so again, like I said, any racism that I experienced, it was never really from a Panamanian person. It was usually, majority of the time, it's from someone that is not from Panama. So, and I think she was like Colombian or something. Yeah, it's crazy. So yes, this concludes the ends of my video. I did not want to make this video too long, so I just wanted to give a brief answer as to why I don't consider myself Afro Latina and why I don't identify as Afro Latina. I identify as a Black woman. I know some of you are going to try to come for me, but I really don't care because I'm just speaking my truth. If you understand, because we don't have to agree, we can agree to disagree, and that's absolutely perfectly fine to not agree with me. That's okay, because we're all entitled to our own opinions. But either way, if you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. And if you dislike this video, comment below and tell me why you dislike this video. And if you are someone who identifies as Afro Latina and you just want to, let me know what your point is and why you feel that you deserve, or why you identify as Afro Latina, please feel free to leave it in the comment section. I'm not going to hate you for it. Everyone has their own truth. You understand what I'm saying? Everybody has, the right to identify as whomever they feel like they want to be identified as. So thank you for watching this video. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at @IAM_VMonroe. And make sure you're subscribed to my channel. I'm gonna have so many fun stuff coming up. Thank you guys for watching. Goodbye, guys.